Hi, and welcome to this next video from the number section, and in this video we're going to be looking at percentages and finding percentages of amounts, and then using those calculations in kind of contextual situations, for example sale prices, shops, this kind of stuff. So here we go. Let's start off by thinking about how we go about finding a percentage of an amount. Right, there's generally a range of ways to do this, but being particularly on the 11 plus examiner, in a lot of exams you've not got a calculator available to you. So what we're going to do in this video is just look at a non-calculator method. And the easiest non-calculator method to use is to build everything around 10% chunks. So here we go. Let's start off. The question says find 40% of 210. So what I'm going to do first of all is, rather than find 40% straight away, I'm going to find out what 10% is. And 10% is a nice easy one to use because 10%, if we wrote it as a fraction, there it is, 10 over 100, and 10 over 100 cancels down, become 1 over 10th. So 1 over 10, sorry. So what we're saying is 10% is 1 over 10, it's a tenth, so we can find 10% simply by doing a divide by 10, because it's 1/10 or something. Now, just be aware, 10% works ever so nicely like that, but it's the only one that works that way. For example, you're not going to find 20% by doing a divide by 20, or you're not going to find 30% by dividing by 30, or so on. It's just 10% that works with this particular method. So to find 10%, do a divide by 10, and away we go. So let's go back to our question. So we're going to find 40% of 210. We said we're going to find 10%. So 10% of 210, we've got to do a divide by 10. And in this case, the easiest way to do a divide by 10 is simply chop off the 0. Hopefully that's an idea that you're okay with. So 10% of 210 is 21. Once I've got that, all I've got to do is do some multiplying to figure out what 40% is. Because 40% is just going to be 4 lots of our 10%. It's 10%, 10%, 10%, 10%, 4 lots of it. So if I'm saying that 10% is 21, I need 4 lots of that. So I'm going to need 4 lots of 21, which is 84. So I answer the question, what is 40% of 210? The answer is 84. Okay, let's have a look at another one. So we've got to find 75% of 140. And I'm going to go for this one doing the 10% method, and then I'm going to show you a slightly different method as well, which you may not have already spotted from looking at the numbers up here. But using the 10% method, same idea, 10% is going to be 14, just divide 140 by 10, or like I said, chop off the 0. So if 10% is 14, I'm going to now find 5% because I'm going to need that when I get to my 75%. So 5% is half of my 10%. So that's going to be simply 7. And then to find 70%, I'm going to now put it all together, 70%, because I'm going to need 70% and my 5%. So 70% is 7 lots of my 10%. So it's 7 lots of this. So 7 lots of 14, which is 98. My 5%, because that's how I'm going to make 75%, I already had was 7. And so put these two things together, and that's going to give me 75%, which is 105. Okay, again, hopefully that's reasonably straightforward, nice and simple, starting off with the 10% and just building it up from there and just kind of putting together the different parts. Now, it may be that you spotted an easier way to work with 75%, and if you're comfortable with percentages, sometimes you can spot easier methods just to chop things up. And in this particular case, I'm going to go with the fact that 75% is simply 3 lots of 25%. And 25% is a nice easy one because it's the same as a quarter, it's a divide by 4. And the easy way to get to that is simply to do a divide by 2 and then divide by 2 again. So, here we go. 140, I'm going to find 25% by doing divide by 2, chop it in half, that's 70%. And now divide by 2 again. So that gives me 35. So that 25% of 140 is 35. And so now I just need, it says we've decided it's 3 lots of 25%. So I'm going to need 3 lots of this. So 3 lots of 35. And there's our 105 again. So in this particular case, it was probably easier to work with 25% rather than 10%. But either way, as you can see, it gets the right answer. It just all depends on how comfortable you are with percentages and whether or not you spot an easy way of doing things. Okay, so moving on, what I'm going to do is take our skills from the previous slides and put them into a context, and this time we're going to deal with a sale. So imagine we're in a shop and the shop is saying, okay, you've got 20% off everything and I want to buy a set of headphones, and the price of the headphones was originally 45%. How much are they going to cost me? So let's go with a 10% method. So 10% of 45. Hopefully we're okay. We can't just kind of chop a zero off because the zero's not on the end. But hopefully we're comfortable in 45, divide that by 10. That's going to be £4.50. If 10% is £4.50, that means 20% is going to be 2 lots of that, which is £9. And so this £9 figure here represents how much of a discount I'm getting. So the last step of my calculation is to say, well, you know what, in the sale, if we get £9 off, the sale price of my headphones is going to be the 45 less than £9, so I'm going to be paying £36 for my headphones. Okay, another example. Here we go. We're following on from the World Cup, where England did fantastically well, got through to the semi-finals, and there was a lot of talk around the World Cup about hopefully inspiring more girls to get involved in playing football. So let's say that participation in football following the World Cup went up by 15%. And currently there's around about 150,000 girls who are registered with the FA with girls football teams. And so we're going to get, hopefully, let's say, a 15% increase on that figure. So how many girls are playing football as a result of that increase? So here we go again, 10% of 150,000. Let's go for the chop a zero off idea. So that gives us 15,000. 5%, we've seen that before in this video, is going to be half of 15,000. So that's 7,500. So my 15% is simply going to be those two numbers added together. So that's 22,500. So that's represents my increase in girls. In the example up here, we had a sale price, so we're doing a discount. We're taking the 20% off. In this example, we're getting an increase, so we've got to put that figure on. So we've got to take our 150,000, add on the increase in the number of girls playing, and so now we've got 172,500 girls playing football in this country.